Hi friends. I actually managed to make it out of the house considering you saw the rain and the hail that occurred earlier. But I just went to M&S and Tesco, so I thought I'd give you a haul because I love seeing a haul of what people buy. So this haul is for a sandwich that I'm making because I don't know if I saw it in a dream or if I saw it on Instagram, where I saw it, but I need that sandwich, and that is a focaccia sandwich. So ingredients, we've got rockets, we have burrata. I'm also going to put some tomatoes in, as well as pesto. I'm also going to drizzle some balsamic vinegar that I already have here. Some salami, and then of course the actual focaccia bread. So that's for the sandwich. And then I also bought us some pretzels because we were out. I got Simon some M&S white chocolate chip cookies because he is deep in A-levels at the minute. So any snack will be very appreciated. And then last thing I have been craving cheesecake for the past week. That has been my period cravings. Whether period cravings are a thing or not, I don't know. However, I always get a period craving. My period craving has been cheesecake, and then I was also thinking I really want like something lemony, which also doesn't really make sense because I don't like lemon. However, lemon flavoured things, if they're sweet, I don't mind. So I decided to get a lemon cheesecake. However, when I went to M&S and I saw their lemon cheesecakes, I saw that the 2 slice, which was what I was planning on buying, was £4.25, I think, and the whole cheesecake was £5. So I thought it would be incredibly stupid for me to not buy the whole cheesecake rather than spending £4.25 on 2 slices. There's only a 75p difference. So I bought the whole cheesecake, and the whole fam will be eating it anyways, so all is good. Very, very excited to have this as a dessert. Whilst scrolling this morning, I have found quite a few French films and documentaries that I have added to my watch list, and I'm going to start off with a documentary called Le Bus, and then it has like the rest of the title behind it, I just can't remember what it is, which talks about the argument that happened with the French football players in the bus when they weren't allowed to get out before a match because some of them didn't want to go to training. So whilst going from, I think it was from the stadium to their hotel or something, they basically locked the bus so that no one could get out. So that is what I shall be watching whilst having my lunch. I'm not planning on doing anything this afternoon. This is the first time I'm seeing you this week, and it's already Wednesday, which isn't very good for me. But on Monday, I didn't do anything. I spent my whole day in bed. And then on Tuesday, I was at work. I was doing baby examinations. It was a short day, 8 till 4. I turned on one of my alarms. However, I didn't realise that it was on for only Sundays. So it obviously didn't ring on Tuesday. So I was slightly late to work. Second time being late since starting this job. So not too bad. But I had quite a few baby examinations to do. However, what was quite strange is that I would go up to the parents, say, "Hi, my name's Pauline, I'm one of the midwives. Is it okay if I do baby's head to toe check?" And they'd be like, "Can you come back later?" Which is fine. I'd come back later, and then they'd be like, "We're still not ready. Can you come back later?" I'm like, I finish at 4, so either I will, like, I've already done someone else's examination. I've come back to see whether you're ready. I've only got like 2 hours left, so I'm trying to do as many as possible before I go home. If I don't do this examination, it means that you will be staying in overnight because you can't leave without it being done. And they were like, "Yeah, that's fine, we'll just stay in overnight." And I'm like, I've never seen this before. People say no. I was truly shocked. So even when I went to like their case midwife, I was like, yeah, she's declined me doing the head to toe check, so she's staying in another night. They were like, what? They've been pestering me all day to go home. And I'm like, well, clearly they don't want to go home that bad because they're telling me to go away. So that was quite interesting, and I was very, very confused. And that happened with maybe like 3 or 4 parents who were like, yeah, no, we don't want you to do it right now. So I was like, okay. So I did feel bad because I must have left maybe like, there were 4 babies that were born yesterday that I didn't do, plus the 4 that declined. So I left 8 examinations, plus all the ones that were going to happen overnight and stuff. So I do feel bad for whoever's on today, but it's not my fault. They declined, and I wrote in their notes that they declined. So, and then this morning I have not done anything because, as you saw, it was raining and hailing, and I was not mentally prepared to go out in that type of weather. So I will make my sandwich, show you the final product, and then we shall have some lunch. Hello everybody, you joined me after work. Today was a mandatory update day, which means that it was just going over all of the updates that we've had regarding guidelines, medications, things like that. And yeah, it was quite interesting, to be fair. And I am having dinner with Innocent Tyler in Clapham Junction, which is an hour by walk. So I thought, why not just walk there instead of taking the bus? It means that I'll get there for 6, which is when we're meeting up. For dinner, we are going to Go Go Pocho, which is a Korean restaurant, which I've actually been to before. I went with Crispo, tried and tested, and it is good. And then I'm back into work tomorrow night. The wards don't seem too horrendous when we were walking through, but I guess we'll see what it is tomorrow.
Yo family, we are outside, step in, we went to M&S, trying to get some new snacks, some new picky bits, if you will.
Picky bits for dinner.
Yeah, for dinner, for din-dins. We're going to see what we can get, scope out the aisles, you know what I'm saying? We will update you and let you know how it's going.
Recap of the day.
Recap.
I was on a night shift yesterday. I was on the antenatal ward, and it was busy as hell. We arrived, we had 2 free beds. They obviously both got filled up within the first half an hour of us being there. And then it was a lady coming over, then she was taken to labour ward, then someone else coming over, then getting taken to labour ward. So it was a lot of movement. All of my patients were actually okay. Everyone else's, lots of excitement. But it was okay. Managed to make it through the shift. I actually handed over to the midwife that handed over to me, so it was super quick. Like literally in 5 minutes I was done. I was like, she's the same, she's had a few changes, she's the same. So that was actually quite nice. So I was out of there so quick. Came back home. I actually didn't sleep this morning. I stayed up, managed to stay up till 1:30, and then I needed to sleep, so I slept for 2 hours, and now we're up again.
We're outside.
And then Simon gave me a whole spiel about his history content that he's learning for his A-levels.
Yeah, British Empire and fascist Italy, so that's fun, you know.
So yeah, so we had a little history spiel, which was very interesting.
Yeah.
And now we're off to M&S
M&S, yes, mandem.
to get some picky bits.
Active.
Oh yeah.
Active. Right.
Right, so see you in M&S.
See you in M&S. Hello, we are in M&S. We are looking at the picky bits selection. Yeah, pretty much it.
So far, we have got some mini fouet
Lovely.
and some red pepper hummus.
Lovely.
And we're trying to make the most of the 3 for £8, but there's nothing very appealing.
Don't know what we're having. Who is that? Ah, Bukayo. Morgan Rogers. Yeah. England, solid.
Good evening, everyone. It is Sunday and we have just come back from the V&A. We went to go see a exhibition called The Music is Black, A British Story, which explored how music has evolved in British culture, but also from British colonies as well. And we had headsets, so depending on where you were standing, a certain song would play, which was so interesting. And I've actually discovered quite a few new songs that I thoroughly enjoyed, so I will be adding those into my liked songs on Spotify. I'm going to delve right into my media recap for the week. I have watched a lot of things this week, so be prepared. Starting off with the first documentary called Trust Me, the Prophet, which talks about a extreme form of Mormonism that derived from the FLDS. It focuses on a couple who moved into the area and wanted to help the woman leave that realm. And it's very, very interesting, slightly strange, but the documentary itself was very well filmed and they are very brave for putting themselves on the line, essentially. So for this documentary, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Moving on to the next documentary, which is called Le Bus Les Bleus en Grève, which focuses on the French national team during the 2010 World Cup and about how they decided to not partake in their training session post Anelka being sent back home. And it talks about kind of the before that actual training session, leading up to it, and also what happens afterwards. So it was a very, very interesting documentary, and it was interesting to see different players' point of views, but also the manager's point of view as well, and how he kind of thought that he wasn't the main issue when he was. I will be giving this documentary a 3.75 out of 5. Next up is something that I'm currently watching. The last episode comes out on Wednesday. It is Race Across the World, which is a series that follows 5 different pairs, and their goal is to win the race. They start off in one place and end up in another. They started off in Palermo and they are ending in Mongolia. So they are obviously on a budget and they don't have any means of communication. They don't have their phones. All they have is a map and a GPS, and they have to go and ask people for help, and I'm thoroughly enjoying. Everyone has their favourite team. I don't think I have a favourite team. I think I know who's going to win. Obviously, we never actually know, but I have my suspicions on who's going to win. However, when it comes to who I want to win, there isn't anyone in particular. I think at this stage, there's one team that I don't want to win, but the other 3, I don't really mind. So I'm very excited for Wednesday's episode. Finally, I watched a series called Off Campus, which is currently doing the rounds on social media, which is based off a book series by Elle Kennedy, and it tells us the story of a girl called Ella who is currently at uni living her life, and then she has a crush on this guy. And in one of her classes, there's someone else who really wants to get good grades because he's a hockey player. If he doesn't pass his class, he's not going to be able to play. So they make a deal that he will help her get that guy and she becomes his tutor. So it talks about that kind of relationship. It's very much a teen romance, very cringy, but I enjoyed watching it and I'm going to give it a 3.75 as well. They have announced that there's going to be a second season, which is exciting. I don't think they've announced a date, but they're going to start filming sometime soon. Moving on to music, I have been listening to my day lists as well as my liked songs. I have also been listening to a lot of Olivia Dean. I listened to her album Messy and The Art of Loving. I also listened to my relaxing mix, of course. A throwback album that I have listened to is Blue Tape and technically Red Tape by Higher Music. So they are a K-hip hop label who released these albums back in 2020 with all of the artists that were under that label at the time, and very, very good. Blue Tape is more kind of chill R&B vibes, whereas Red Tape is a bit more hardcore hip hop and rap, but very nice to delve back into those. Thoroughly enjoying them. Of course, I listened to Monica. I also listened to the Grand National Tour set list. Although I don't really listen to SZA's songs just because I'm not a very big SZA fan. I love the collaboration that they have together. However, most of SZA's songs are songs that I don't actually listen to. So I mostly listen to it for Kendrick. So I am thinking about making a Kendrick playlist of the songs he plays during the tour. But that is to cycle back on. And lastly, I have been listening to the Big Flo et Oli mix as well, which I've been thoroughly enjoying. Lots of different French rap, which is great to get back into before summer hits and I am confronted with French rap songs that I have never heard of before. I'm trying to hop on the trend of all of the trending songs at the minute so that I can at least come equipped. That is everything for my media recap for this week. I hope you have enjoyed this week's vlog and I will see you next week. Bye!